Welcome, everyone. We are live, and it is Tuesday. Listen, yesterday was awesome. Um, I got this message yesterday, and it said, your voice helped me through what I was dealing with. And I was like, oh, snap. And then another person, they said what they said. And it was glorious. Do you want to know why it was glorious? Because that's why we're talking about working it out today. They practice. They practice. And so today, we're going to practice. You see, I want to see if you can spot yourself. Now, here's the reason why we practice. We practice every day being aware of ourselves and our present situation. We always hear that we have to live in the now. We hear that a lot. But do we truly grasp what it means to live in the now? It means the present moment. What is the present moment? Your present mental state, your present mental mood is now. Because it is that present mental mood, that present mental attitude that does what? Show you what you're going to do now. And if you pay attention, you'll see what you'll do at the next moment now. Whether you want to call it future or past, you are doing them now. How are you doing them? By way of your imagination. How so? When we reminisce about the past, when we go back, now whether your memory or your thought is on the good things of the past, beautiful relationships, the great food, the friendship, the camaraderie, the wealth, the health. If that is what you are reminiscing about, recollecting, recalling, remembering, did you know that your body will respond with its chemical cocktail now? So the past is not the past. So long as you remember it, it is now. And the more you keep remembering it, we all know what happens from there. No, as within, so without. So when you relive the past now, you experience it now. And that's just reminiscing about the good things. Now, here's how you catch yourself when you are reminiscing. Naturally, we reminisce. Naturally, we reminisce. Naturally, we reminisce. So the key is to choose what to reminisce about. So here's how you catch yourself when you're reminiscing. I'll give you an example. Daddy called me yesterday. You have to remember that my daddy has been having trouble with his memory. And I said, and I struggled with this a lot. Until one day I said, you know what? No, he's not. I know what I know. And I was so indifferent. Really and truly, I was annoyed. Right? I just annoyed. But my father calls me yesterday. And I answered the phone, and he said to me, "Hey, happy birthday." I was like, "Who told you?" He goes, "Nobody." I had the phone in my hand, and I unlocked my phone, and I saw that you had called. All right. Now, I didn't call my father yesterday. I called my father last week, like maybe Wednesday. We spoke, but he said, "No, I was just playing in my phone. I unlocked it, and there was your name and number." And then I remembered something said to me, "Call her now. It's her birthday." And I said, "Really? Really, Daddy?" I said, "Are you sure somebody didn't tell you to do it?" He goes, "No, nobody told me to call you." He goes, "I remembered your birthday." And I said, "Oh." I said, "Well, you made my day, Daddy." Because remember, he'd been struggling to the point of he doesn't drive anymore because he won't remember where he's going. So he doesn't drive. So for him to call me on my birthday, you understand, I was shocked, but then I remembered what I had done. I remember that when I'm driving and I think of my dad, and one of the things to remember, the grocery store and the little old man, I said something my father always says. And this is why I'm trying to tell you, we are always reminiscing. Always. It is what we do. It is the nature of being aware. It is the nature of knowing that you exist. We always reminisce. And so whenever I think of my dad, I think of him and having conversations with him of things that he remembers. So whenever I think of him, I'm thinking of him from a place of him remembering and having a conversation of him remembering. And I'm not dwelling on it all day, but I happened to be at the grocery store to get some goldfish crackers. And there was the only one there because I'd gone down the main aisle and none with the same size that he wanted in the packaging that he wanted. And then when I saw it, and I said, "Ah, you're a lucky son of a gun." Those are my father's words. My father says that all the time. And so when I said it and I smiled to myself because I remembered my father. And the little old man said to me, "Ah, you must be from Barbados. I haven't heard that in a very long time." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Clutching my pearls. You see, my point to tell you the story is this. We are always reminiscing. The good, the bad, the indifferent. We are always reminiscing. So when you are driving down the street and your mind is taking flight somewhere, catch it. Do not let it just run amok. If it's going to run amok, give it the pathway with which to run amok by. Meaning, if you're going to reminisce, reminisce on the good. Which means you don't have time to reminisce about trauma. Why not? See, this is how we work it out. By becoming aware of what we are doing when we are doing it. As within, so without. As above, so below. And it is in those moments of uncontrolled reverie, as Neville Goddard would put it. Uncontrolled reverie, yes. When something just comes out of your mouth or something just pops into your mind because you have not taken the time to check the mood. Now, to make your life simpler, you want to practice the positive mood. You want to practice it deliberately. Why practice it deliberately? Because that which you practice deliberately, you become. And when you become it, you do it. So if you practice your time when you're driving or you're sitting on the potty or you're walking the dog and you just let your mind run amok and you have not controlled what you are thinking of. When I say control, I don't mean suppressing. No, controlling means that you made the decision to deliberately practice. You know what? If I'm going to recall a memory, it better be a good one. Something that made me laugh, something that reminded me that I am lovable, something that reminded me that I know who my Redeemer is. Something that, who's my Redeemer? The mood. The mood. So if you practice going back to the trauma because it upsets you, then if you, I'm going to say it to you again, if you practice going there over and over and over and over again, it will become your pattern, your habit, so that it doesn't matter where you go. If you're outside, if you're digging in the garden, oh God, I just whistled. These F's. If you are walking the dog, digging in the garden, pooping on the potty, it doesn't matter, showering, driving, you are the one constantly recalling deliberately what you want to recall. So that the habit, when it takes hold of you, you will naturally recall the good because you've practiced recalling the good. That is why when you discover that you're recalling the frustrating, agitating, you catch yourself and you go, girl, do you really want to perfect this? You better get that better thought in here, but what you want to, and you change your thinking, you change your mood. Deliberately change your mood, because that which you deliberately, listen, even if you don't think you're doing it deliberately, the thing that you rehearse the most is the thing you will start living out. So to work it out, we practice. What do we practice doing? We don't practice catching the thought. We have too many of those. So because it can become frustrating to say, oh my God, I got to capture every thought. Well, scripture does say to capture every thought. But how does one capture every thought? We capture the thought by deliberately choosing the mood. That's how you do it. Because the thoughts will follow the mood. It is easier, right? It is easier to capture every thought. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up to see where I can find it. Now listen, 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5. Don't come for me about the Bible. Comprehend what I'm saying to you, because the principles, the laws are all written in the Bible. And when you see them through the principles, through the lens of the law, you'll understand what Scripture is saying. And then you will know how to apply it instead of using Scripture to beat yourself up. But I digress. It says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Listen, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the what now? Knowledge. Where is your knowledge? Where is it? In your where? Your memories. Knowledge is things that you've learned. Your knowledge is a collective of things that you have learned. And where are they stored? That sets itself up, above where? In your awareness. So, in order to capture the thought, you capture the thought by deliberately choosing the mood. You go back to the knowledge that is beneficial. And knowledge, remember, is what you know, what you've experienced. So you're going back to your memories. So when you go back and you select the mood deliberately, because right now it feels like you're struggling. I can't think better thoughts. All my thoughts are negative. That is only because that's what you've practiced. So you now have to practice persistently a different mood. And when you capture a different mood and you exercise that mood persistently, now it becomes your habit. And your habit will always tell you what you're going to do every single time. So you see, my beautiful friends, when you hear, take every thought captive, it already told you how to take it captive. You take anything captive that would try to do what? Set itself up above. Remember where above is? As above, so below. Above in what am I? Your awareness of yourself. That seems, Angela, so mystical. What do you mean, my awareness of yourself? If I ask you, what are you doing right now? What are you wearing right now? What are you going to say? In order for you to answer me, you had to become aware of what you were doing. You already were aware of what you're doing. I'm just calling your attention to it so you can tell me what you are aware of. So you see, we are always aware of ourselves and what we're doing and how we're feeling, the mood we're in. So when we work it out, that is what we're doing. Deliberately choosing what to be aware of. So if I say to you, what are you doing right now? You say, Angela, I'm just sitting on the couch sipping my tea, listening to you. What kind of tea is it? Oh, it's a bergamot, or it's an Earl Grey, or it's an English breakfast, or it's a, a venti latte, blah, blah, blah. See, when I call your attention to something, I put it right in front of you, and then you can tell me all about it, which means you are aware. So if we spend our time practicing being aware of our predominant mood, the one we always go to, oh man, why am I doing this again? Why is this happening to me again? That is your cue. I keep showing you where these cues are. Those are showing you. Those phrases are showing you where you habitually go. And when you can see where you habitually go, this is not the time to pull out your whip and start beating yourself because you think you're a failure and that you never get it and that your life is never going to change. No, that's just what you have habitually been doing. That is all it means. It just means you keep going back to that thing over and over. But to work it out, to practice, you set the determination. Oh, yes, you do. Begin by setting the determination. Some would say set an intention, but here's how you break it down. You set yourself, there is a guard always, it's called your conscious mind, your present awareness, the present awareness. You set that to do something because you have to be aware of what you want to look for. And when you are aware of what you want to look for, you have just what? Used the principle of gender. You came up with an idea and you said, okay, here's what I want to experience. Here's the mood I want to be in. And the moment you generated that idea, that is masculine. And then you had to mentally impregnate yourself. You had to send that message to your quote unquote subconscious mind, the one that's running in the background, that fetches you all the information. I'll tell you another story in a minute. It gives you all the information you just selected. It says scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Information detected. It does that for you. So if you decide to be intentional and you say, you know what? Here's the mood I want to be in today. I want to be focused. I want to be clear. I want to have clarity about dot, dot, dot. Name it. Because now what you've done, you've mentally impregnated yourself so that your subconscious mind will go and bring you all of the things that match what you say you want it to match. See, that is what it means to be intentional. I was looking, here's the story. I was looking for the tamper. When you have a Vitamix, it has these little like plungy thingies. It's called a tamper, I think is what you call it. And I could not remember where they were. For the life of me, I could not. And so I said, I need the thing. I need the thing for the blender. And as I was digging in the pantry in a box where I have some stuff stored, cookware stuff, an image flashed in my mind of the tamper and where it was. An image flashed into my mind's eye. And I got up and I smiled and I said, thank you. And I walked right over to where it was and I put my hand on it. I opened up the door and I put my hand on it. What did I do? I generated the idea. I said, I gotta find the tamper. That's the idea. I gotta find the tamper. And I went downstairs. I went everywhere. Now, why didn't I start with my intention? Because as humanity, that's what we do. We wait until we've exhausted everything, including ourselves. And then we remember to go to the thing that we want to be. So I said, oh, I got to find the thing. And how did it know the thing that I was looking for? Because I told it what to look for because I needed to use the blender. I was making a nut butter that day. So I needed to be able to push the nuts down into the grinder. And within, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe of me and sheer frustration, I said, where is the thing? Show me the thing. And the image of it and where it was flashed in my mind's eye. And I got up off my knees. I wasn't praying. I was digging in the pantry in the box. And as soon as I saw it flash, I was like, I kissed my teeth and said, wasted all this time. And so I went to the cupboard exactly where it is. I can't see through the door, but I put my hand on it and opened it up, and there it was. There they both were. And I said, oh, thank you. Thank you. I mentally impregnated myself with the image that I wanted. See what I'm saying to you? We always use the principle of gender. So the key here is to deliberately practice. So the same way it works. And do you know why it worked? Because it was what I needed at the time. I needed it in that moment. In that moment, I needed it now. And so I set myself the task, find it. And I allowed, because that part I have been practicing for a very long time. I always say, show me. I don't see it. Show me. Show me what I'm doing wrong. Show me so I can fix it. I've been saying and doing it that way for years. So that's usually my go-to when I'm stuck and I need a solution. I say, show me. Right? And you'll notice you're not running around the place trying to figure it out, you know. You've already become clear about what it is that you want. So you see, that thing that you practice doing deliberately is the way you will, quote unquote, unconsciously live your life. And remember, we don't do anything unconsciously. It only appears to be that way. It only appears to be unconscious. But it isn't unconscious because you catch it and you say, "Ugh, why do I keep doing that?" See, so it is not unconscious. Nothing is unconscious. You cannot not be aware. It is the first principle of creation. The all is mind. The all is mind. Mind meaning aware of oneself. You and I are always aware. So when you are going through your day to practice, you practice, what am I aware of right now? What am I doing right now? What am I feeling right now? What's my mood right now? This is how we practice. Because we are always in a mood. Always in a mood. It is our mood, our mental attitude that is our predictor of our behavior and our thoughts and our words. So when you need to work it out, you don't need to figure it out. You work it out through practice. And here's what you're practicing, because some people say, well, what technique am I? You're not. I'm getting a little excited. One does not live their lives by way of a technique. We live our lives by our habitual mood, not a technique in the least bit. That's why I keep showing you there, there is no technique. Every day I tell you step 1, step 2, step 3. Those are the steps in becoming aware of your present situation, your present mental mood. You must first acknowledge where you are. Because that is where we always live from, our present awareness. And the present awareness is what we do. And so when we hear, well, I'm a master manifester, Yeah, like I'm totally a phenomenal manifester. Newsflash. Dun, 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 dun. Newsflash. You already are a master manifester. Do you know what that means? We've got to stop glamorizing these words. A manifestation is simply another word for the principle unknown, which is as above, so below. As within, so without. The principle of correspondence is what manifestation is. So you don't have to, oh my God, Angela, are you one of those new age people who are always talking about manifestation? That shit doesn't work. You, now that you comprehend what manifestation is, you can remove the rose-colored lenses from your eyes and stop trying to be so quote unquote mystical and magical and live deliberately by way of principle. You must always see the corresponding effect. You must always see it. So the experience will always match. So you don't ever get it wrong. I didn't get what I wanted. No, you got the corresponding experience to your mood. This is how you work it out. We're sitting here trying to do rituals. You don't do a ritual. We don't live by way of rituals. We live by way of principle. What principles, you ask? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you the story of the principles. Allegedly, there was a man named Thoth, the Atlantean. Allegedly. You don't have to believe in Thoth, because you're not supposed to believe in anything or any other one. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. There's only one, and that is you. Now, whether you want to believe in Thoth or not is irrelevant. Do you understand the principles that he taught? He didn't come up with the principles. He observed the principles and wrote them down so that humanity could apply the principles to their very lives. For which I say, thanks. Appreciate that. But sometimes we romanticize the person who shared information with us instead of practicing what we were taught. And we argue over, oh, well, he might not be real. It is irrelevant if you think he is real or not. When you plant corn, do you get peas? No. That which you sow, you must reap. Well, as within the seed, so must the fruit be on the outside. Every fruit after its own kind. See, so it has nothing to do with who and what one believes. Can you observe the principles at work? So you look for the principles. Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. You see, mind, then, should tell you, is your mentality, your mental mood. And that mental mood must correspond, as within, so without, as above, so below. Right? And why must it correspond? Because everything is moving. Nothing stands still. Thus we say it vibrates. It is always moving. It is the principle of vibration. And it is always moving how? From where it is to where it is going. Explain. The seed is moving from seed to sapling, right? It's moving from one state, which is polarity, from where it is to where it is going. And so there are stages to the movement. It moves from being a seed and it shoots out roots. And then it begins to sprout above the ground, and it grows and it matures. And in that maturity, now the next stage would be to blossom. And then when it blossoms, then it bears fruit. And it will only bear the fruit of that which seed was planted. So polarity does not mean opposite. Polarity means movement from where you are through the stages of becoming what you said you were going to be, all the way back at mentalism. Huh? And from that polarity, you begin to see the rhythm or the pattern, the ebb and the flow of how things move. This is how we know we're going into spring, because we are moving through the stages. And the stage we move through has a pattern, a rhythm, and the rhythm always compensates. Compensates? Yes. With what, when they say to you, March came in, what did March come in like? A lion or a lamb? That depends. Did winter go out like a lion, or did it go out like a lamb? If winter just trickled out and took its time, well, then spring will trickle out or trickle in and take its time, because rhythm compensates. The intensity with which you do something is the amount of intensity that you get back. You swing 90 degrees to the left, you have to come back 90 degrees. Rhythm compensates. And from that rhythm, you are caused to bring about an effect. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. But a cause is not random. The cause occurs because of the pattern you selected. Where did you select that pattern? All the way back at mentalism. The all is mind. And then when that cause brings about the effect, you get an idea and you say, aha, eureka. You generated masculine, an idea. And then you had to mentally impregnate yourself so that you could give that thing form. But the form can only match that which was planted. So at every turn, now do you see how every single law is interconnected because it is only one law? So you see, you and I are always doing it in that fashion. We do not do it any other way. You select your mood, and the mood selected will bear fruit. Meaning, what's the fruit of your mood? Your thoughts, your words, your actions. And you'll know one another by your fruit. So you see, my beautiful friends, I trust today that when we work it out, that's what we're doing. We're practicing. So stop thinking of yourself as a failure. You didn't fail anything. You're living by way of principle. You're doing that which only you can do because you chose the mood. So in order to work it out, you practice choosing your mood. That is your only business. Because when you choose the mood, that is the seed, and you have to reap according to what you've planted. So if you want to change what is going on the outside in your life, apply that principle. Okay, well, I don't understand, Angela. Well, what mood are you presently aware of being in? Are you annoyed? Are you frustrated? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you feeling abandoned? Are you feeling betrayed? What is your present mood? And you can identify your present mood by the feeling that accompanies it, cause you are in a mood. The effect will be the feeling. And every cause does have its effect, and every effect has the cause. So if you look at the present effect or experiences of your life, are you pleased with it? It's a simple yes or no. And so if you say, yes, I am, well, then carry on. But if you say, I am displeased with it, well, then one needs to come up with an idea. Clearly, you now need to mentally impregnate yourself. If you say, I don't like feeling like this, well, then you have to mentally impregnate yourself with what you want to feel like, which is the effect. And you know the effect has a cause. You don't have to figure out the cause. The effect will bring about the cause. So one does not go out into the world and try to break every mirror because they are dissatisfied with what they look like, under the clever disguise of throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. We don't start there. We don't start by changing the exterior. We start by mental mood. Yeah, but I need it to change right now. Well, then you're presently in a mood of frustration. And if you are in a mood of frustration, what's that seed? Frustration. So what's the fruit? Ah, grinding one's teeth in frustration is the fruit. So you take a moment and you breathe. And you do what? Calm the body. Why? Because right now, adrenaline is rushing through the body. So you want to calm it down. Breathe. Just breathe. And you'll begin to feel your body come at to a sense of ease. You'll feel it. Naturally, you will. And when you feel your body begin, these F words. Sorry, I just whistled again. When you begin to feel that mood change, now, that's once you felt the mood change, well, now you know you're going to act different. And if you're acting different, then the things you see are different. The things you think about are different. So, thus, your experience will be different. But we try and we go out there and we want to shake the tree and shake it from frustration and expect that we're going to get a beautiful experience. No. You walk out into the world aware of being frustrated, you will do what? Think thoughts of frustration, speak words of frustration, and do the actions of frustration. Naturally, of course. So, as I welcome you this morning to this space, you know that there's something you're dealing with right now because it's in the back of your mind and it's saying, how am I supposed to apply that to this situation? Like this. You are dissatisfied? Well, then what would make you satisfied? Well, look at the problem. It's not rocket science. The problem is telling you exactly what the solution would be. If you're hungry, the solution is what? Feed me, Seymour. Food. Yes? You're thirsty? You're going to be drinking something. Preferably water, because it's thirst, right? If you're unemployed, what is the solution? Employment. What type of employment? Gainful. Ah. So then, if that is the desired effect, the moment you begin to walk in the mood of being gainfully employed, what does that look like? It looks like, what would your life be like if you were gainfully employed? What would you be doing if you were gainfully employed? You'd be going to work. And if you're going to work, You getting paid. And if you're getting paid, you're paying your bills. How does that feel? Oh, there's the effect you're looking for, the feeling of that freedom, the feeling of security. Oh, so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for security. Oh, now that you know you're looking for security, how did you know you were looking for security? Well, you just did it when you said you were looking for a job. Why? Because I want to pay my bills. I want to keep a roof over your head. Oh, and that would be security. Because insecurity would be not knowing where those things are coming from. But you see, your security does not come from the thing. It is your mental mood of security, as within, oh Lord, so without. This is why if you plant the seeds of security, then you have to experience all the things that match security. Melly Mel. Hey, girl. Hey, Capo Rico. CJ, I don't know if you're still here. What do you mean, why do I never talk to you? Am I not speaking to you now? Of course I am. I'm always speaking to you. Mm. But I see y'all over here on these YouTube streets. I don't know who's on Facebook or TikTok at this time because they haven't made themselves known in the chat, but I see you. Yes. Well, Twitter is as Twitter is, you know. Tumbleweed Twitter. Who's on fan base this morning? Who that is bright. Who's on fan base? We've got Michael. Ah, you got Miss McQueen. Hey, honey. Oracle Treehouse. Surreal. Oh, well, hello, Flo Smiles. I see you with Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. I'm not singing it randomly. She made a birthday cake, and because she changed her picture, because that's what we can do on Fanbase, she changed her picture, and there was Spider-Man. Soul of a man. Hey. Oh, it is so beautiful to see you, stranger. It's been a long time, hasn't it? It has. So, today, to work it out, your work it out is to select your mood, your mental attitude. Listen to what Patti LaBelle had to say. I got a new attitude. Know where I'm going and I know what to do. What did she say? I tidied up my point of view. I got a new attitude. Right? Dun, 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 dun. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. She starts going off. Wow, I love that song. So the next time you sing it to yourself, did you know what you just did when you sang it to yourself? You put yourself in a different mental mood. You changed your mental attitude by simply singing the song. Because you didn't just sing the song, you can't help it because naturally when you sing that song, it'll do something to you. Naturally. It'll confirm to you because it'll feel good to you that, hey, my mood just changed. And if you persistently select that mood that you feel when you sing her song. Persistently, yep. How many times a day you going to sing that song? How many times are you going to revel in the feeling of singing that song? Ah, now the trajectory of your day will change. Not because you're forcing it to change, but because you are deliberately choosing the direction for it to go. So if you would practice that, You could call that a hack. You could call it a cheat code if you want to. It's not a cheat code. It is just you becoming aware of what you are doing so that you can predict the outcome of your life. Oh, I'm a prophet now? Yes, you are. Why? Because every cause has its effect. Every effect is cause. So if you choose that mood, which is the cause, that made you feel good and put a little bit of pep in your step and gangster lean, well, then you can determine the type of day you're going to have, can you not? And you don't have to guess the kind of day you're going to have. You looked at the mood and then you said, that's the kind of day I shall have. Because you'll stop saying will. Why will you stop saying will, which is future and not here yet? Because you know that if I change my mood now, I can only do it now. And that is how you go from, oh, I will, to I am. But anywho, Lil Bit was already singing. Oh, yes, she was. Oh, he was already singing his heart out, that boy. I shouldn't say it that way. He was singing with his whole self. Every fiber of his being he was singing with this morning. That handsome boy. So, what wholeness of you will you be singing with this morning? What will you deliberately do? So don't walk through this day talking about, I don't know what I'm going to do. I know, because I say it all the time. I don't know. Choose what you will do. And once you've chosen the mood, because that's what's going to tell you what you're going to do, choose the mood. When somebody says you picked the wrong one today or you picked the right one today, that should tell you what kind of mood they're in. They're in a fighting mood. And so when you hear you picked the right one today, yikes. You better either quickly diffuse the situation by saying, "Oh my word, my bad. I'm sorry. I diffuse it and go." See, change your mental attitude because you can clearly see what somebody else's mental attitude is, and thus you can predict what they will do. Anyhow, let me get the chime because I've yacked your ear off plenty. And when you hear the chime this morning, what mood are you going to be in so that you can work it out? Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here on such a lovely Tuesday. Remember to go forth into this world today and know that your mental mood will determine your thoughts. They will determine your words, your mental mood, and they will predict your actions. As within, so without, as above, so below. Yes? Fanbase, you know we always close with you, so hold tight. Twitter, much love to each and every one of you who catches this replay. Twitter is closed. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. I'ma catch y'all later. Later. Peace out.